Welcome, everyone, to the DUB Success Series, where we cultivate your belief system for success. I am your host, Y. Nelson Thomas, and I want to know, do you believe? Do you?
Do you believe? I want to know. Do you believe? 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 I want to know. Do ya?
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of the Do You Believe Success Series. I am your host, Y. Nelson Thomas, your lifestyle strategy partner, also known by some as Drake the Motivator, Mr. Do You Believe himself. And I am super excited. Today is day 4 and episode 4 of the 100-day challenge. If you are not familiar with the 100-day challenge, then go back and listen to episode 1 and get brought up to speed on what we will be doing for the next 100 days. But I will be releasing a new episode for 100 days in a row. And in addition to releasing the podcast once a day for 100 days in a row, I also took on a couple other challenges, one being to bring back the intimacy in the relationship with my wife, but not necessarily bring it back, but enhance it, increase it, take it to another level, so that way she can get that level of intimacy that she is seeking, and I think that it'll be good for me as well. So we are on day 3 of what I am doing, the Love Dare, the 40-day Love Dare, where it's 40 days and there's a Love Dare for each day. Monday, well, the first day, not Monday, but the first day, the first Love Dare was all about love is patient. Be completely humble and gentle, be patient and bearing with one another in love. Day 2 was love is kind. Be kind to one another, tenderhearted, forgiving each other, just as God has forgiven you. And day 3 of the Love Challenge of the Love Dare is love is not selfish. Be devoted to one another in brotherly love. Give preference to one another in honor. So day 3 is all about love is not selfish and being unselfish. So today I will be putting in time and energy into cultivating our relationship and making a sacrifice, so that way I can let my lady know that I was thinking about her. And it doesn't have to necessarily be monetarily. You don't have to sacrifice, just your money, but there are other sacrifices as well. Your time, your energy. So if you don't have the money, that's not an excuse. As you know, you'll hear me say this 1,000 times, that excuses are tools of the incompetent, which build monuments to nothing, and those who specialize in them seldom accomplish anything else. So let's not let finances stop you from making a sacrifice. You do have time and you do have energy, so make sure that you are, if you're choosing to go along with the Love Dare as well with me, then make sure that you focus on making some kind of sacrifice. So along with restraining from the negative comments, do something nice for your spouse, your lover, or yourself that says, hey, I was thinking of you today. All right. Now, today's podcast is going to be a quick one. I just got off a coaching call that I think was absolutely phenomenal, and I want to pass on the gist of what we were discussing, because I think this is something that's valuable, particularly at this day and age, that we all have to remember. Do not quit before the miracle happens. I know that there are a lot of people who are frustrated by a variety of different things. It could be entrepreneurs who your business is not growing. It could be a married couple where your relationship is not where it may be, or you may be dealing with some issues on your job, dealing with coworkers, dealing with a child that's not being as obedient as you would like. There are many challenges that we all face on a daily basis. But what I want to encourage you is do not quit before the miracle happens. See, it's one thing that you have to understand, that without a disaster, there could be no miracles. Now, hear me when I say this. Without a disaster, there could be no miracles. So when you find yourself in a situation where it seems as if the world is pressing down on your shoulders. And I'm gonna tell you this. I think Les Brown said it. If you're on your back and you're looking up, if you look up, you can get up. Well, I would encourage you to do that. To stand up, get up, and do not quit before the miracle happens. Do not allow your frustrations to cripple you. And trust me, I'm going through some situations right now that could very well cripple me if I allow the frustrations to come in and really dominate me and dominate my mindset and dominate my spirit. But you know what? I absolutely refuse, because I know that without a disaster, there could be no miracle. So no matter what you're going through, no matter where you are emotionally, no matter where you are psychologically, spiritually, or financially, do not quit before the miracle happens, because there is something great. And I've seen too many people who walk away from the greatness right before it happens because the frustrations have seemed to become so insurmountable or unsurmountable, whatever the word is. You know the word. The frustrations have become so heavy and worrisome and troublesome that they walk away from the greatness. And it reminds me of a quick story. One of my favorite stories, it's called Acres of Diamonds and it's a story that was told by Dr. Russell Conwell, and he was the guy who actually started Temple University up in Philadelphia. But he tells this story about a guy who was living a fairly decent and modest life, and his neighbor came over one day and told him about all the great riches of the world. So this guy, and I'm giving you the short version. So this guy, if I'm not mistaken, his name was Ali Hafed. He left his wife. And he had a nice little farm. The farm, he wasn't rich by no means, but he was rich by the standards of saying that I have a home, I have a wife and kids and a family that loves me. So essentially, he was rich, but that was not the riches that he wanted, because his neighbor came over and told him about, man, if you had just one nugget or one diamond, man, you could be generationally rich. So he decided to leave his wife and his kids with a neighbor and to leave and go in search of these riches. Went out searching, exhausted himself emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually, as well as financially. And you know what he did? He jumped in the Euphrates River, committed suicide, and killed himself. Meanwhile, back on the exact same farm that he sold to another gentleman, the gentleman was out one day, and it's a creek with a big rock that runs right through the center of this property. So he was out there one day and he see this nice little shiny stone, picks it up, takes it inside his house, puts it on his mantle. That same neighbor who told Ali Hafed about the great riches stopped by to visit his new neighbor, saw this big shiny stone and says, "Oh my God, that is one of the biggest diamonds I've ever seen in my life." The neighbor says, "No, that's not a diamond. That's just a stone that I found outside in my yard." The guy says, "Show me." And what was discovered was one of the richest diamond mines in the history of the world, right in this man's backyard. So he went away from the riches that were right in his backyard in search of the riches somewhere else, ended up frustrating, committing himself, not even realizing that what he wanted and what he desired was in his own backyard. So don't let that be you. Don't go out chasing something that you already have. Don't allow these frustrations to take you out of being the person that God created you to be. Because I understand that frustrations can be crippling. When you have responsibilities, when you have a wife and you have kids and you have all of these responsibilities over your head and you're not in a financial situation like you want to be. When you're on a job that you truly do not like and a job that you absolutely hate and you can't stand clocking in on a daily basis. When you're dealing with relationships and people who are just really just not doing you any good, that are not serving you to a higher degree. When you may be in a marriage that you feel is not going to be exactly what you thought it was going to be and you're frustrated. I want to tell you now, do not quit before the miracle happens, because without a disaster, there could be no miracle. So do not walk away from your miracle. You have to keep the faith. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you believe, but me and my house, we are God-fearing, praying people. So I want to say, keep God first and do not allow the frustrations of any situation to pull you outside of becoming the person that God created you to be. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Just do not let the frustrations cripple you. Do not quit before the miracle happens. And remember, without a disaster, there could be no miracle. Hey, once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Y. Nelson Thomas, your lifestyle strategy partner, also known as Wadre the Motivator, Mr. Do You Believe himself. And I want to thank you so very much for allocating a little bit of your time to tune in to my podcast, the Do You Believe Success Series. We will be going strong for 100 days in a row. And hopefully that there will be people who will join us and have some great transformations as well. And just to do a quick recap before we get out of here, the love there, we're on day 3 right now. Day 1 was love is patient. That is, be completely humble and gentle. Be patient and bearing with one another in love. Day 2 is love is kind. Be kind to one another, tenderhearted, forgiving each other just as God has forgiven you. Day 3 is love is not selfish. Be devoted to one another in brotherly love. Give preference to one another in honor. So for those of you who are taking the 40-day love dare along with me, today is love is not selfish. So think about how you can sacrifice for your relationship, which is ultimately making a sacrifice for yourself. And if you know anything about sacrificing, when you sacrifice, that means you give up something that you really wanted or something that you have. You sacrifice with the expectation that that sacrifice will pay off. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. This is me, Y. Nelson Thomas. I want to thank you so much again for your time, because I understand that you could be doing so many other things in this world, but the fact that you are right here with me right now absolutely means the world to me, and I thank you again. And by the way, for those of you listening on iTunes, if you want to give me a 1-star, that is cool, but if you give me a 5-star, I would appreciate that even more. Thank you so much for your time. Y. Nelson Thomas, your lifestyle strategy partner, and I will see you soon on the DUB Success Series. Yes.
Do you believe? I want to know. Do you believe? Do you believe? Do you believe? Do you believe?